Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another division preview here on the channel. I'm Alex, and it's time to talk about the AFC North for the upcoming 2025 NFL season. I think this division can be interesting. I think going into the season, it feels like there's one team that's going to run away with it. If you know, you know. But maybe there's one or two teams that fight for a wild card spot, and there could be an off chance that they could compete for a division title. Anyways, let's not talk about hypotheticals anymore. Let's talk about what I think is going to happen in the AFC North this season. Real quick before going team by team, let's talk about the way the AFC North division schedule turned out this season. Every team will play their 6 division games, duh. Every team in the AFC North will play every team in the AFC East. Same thing goes with the NFC North. The two divisions on their rotational schedule right now, and that's not too bad. They do get the NFC North, which is going to be a very, very competitive division with 4 good teams. The AFC East is kind of like the AFC North, where it feels like there's a runaway, but maybe a team or two sneak up and perform and maybe challenge for a playoff spot. So some of those games might mean a lot. And then let's take the Baltimore Ravens, the reigning AFC Division champion, North Division champions, for example. They will play at home against one team from the AFC South, in this case the Houston Texans, and one team against the NFC West, this case being the LA Rams. And they'll play on the road against a team from the AFC West, in this case the Kansas City Chiefs. So now with that out of the way, let's talk about things team by team. First up, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh man, the entire talk about this team is going to be, for yet another year, is Mike Tomlin going to keep his 500 or better record going again? Are the Steelers going to finish over 500 for yet another season? And this team, despite being the 6th seed in the AFC and making the playoffs last year, has a lot of roster turnover. I mean, a lot. I mean, you look at it, and they pick up Aaron Rodgers after he leaves from the Jets, so they have a 40-year-old quarterback. They get rid of George Pickens and bring in DK Metcalf instead. Najee Harris is gone, so Jalen Warren's their number 1 running back. They add Jonnu Smith. They are able to sign TJ Watt. They keep Patrick Queen. They lose Minkah Fitzpatrick and replace him with Jalen Ramsey. So a couple of major pieces that shift around on this Steelers roster. I feel like if this team is going to go over 500, it's going to be because of coaching. It's going to be because Mike Tomlin is just that good of a coach to will any team he coaches, no matter how good or bad they are, to at least a 500 record or better. He's got a quarterback who has proven to win at the NFL level, especially in the regular season. They've gotten a good receiver. The problem, can Calvin Austin be a good wide receiver too? They have a good tight end duo. I do like that tight end duo of Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. That feels more like a tight end by committee more than anything. Doesn't feel like that one or the other is going to be a top tight end for this team, especially with Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator. TJ Watt cannot do this alone defensively, though the defense is still not too bad. I do like TJ Watt a lot, of course. I think he's one of the top 3 pass rushers, members of a front seven. Gosh, can I speak? On a roster this year. But yeah, and then this defense is pretty good, but I do have some questions with the roster. And so in the words of good old U-Tree, 9-8 Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no way that they're going to have any other record in the league this year. They're going to either go 9-8, 9-8, or 9-8. They're going to go 9-8 this year, and that's what it is. I'm just kidding. I'm just yanking your chain. I don't think they're going 9-8. I think this is the year. I think this is the year that they finish under 500. I do not like this roster a ton. If Aaron Rodgers plays anything like he did in New York last season, the team is straight up not going to be good. He'll have DK Metcalf, but that's about it. That defense can still play, but I don't trust the offense with the departures that they had to get things done. I don't love their running game. I think Aaron Rodgers, he might be waning a little bit. He is 41 this year. So I don't know if I trust him. But I do, that being said, think they do get a sweep of the Bengals at least, going 6-11. I do think that the wheels come off the bus. They've got a bit of a tough schedule to end the year with Buffalo, Baltimore twice, and Detroit in there. But I think even then, the wheels will have come off the bus and things will be all out of sorts that I think that they're just going to be like, we're done. And just accept the losses to Miami and Cleveland, basically. Kind of turn the season into a bit of a tank at the end of the year if things don't go their way. But again, I have them at 6-4 before the collapse. So I think that most of their winnable games are earlier in the year, and that's, I think, the bottom line. Anyways, I don't love the Steelers this year. I think that they're going to need a lot of help to get to 9 wins this year. Anyways, 6-11, the record I have for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens, who once again are my favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. I think that this team is absolutely stacked. And in the last couple of years, it's been either Baltimore or Buffalo that I have picked as my favorite to win the Super Bowl going into the season. Of course, that hasn't happened because both those teams suffer from can't beat Mahomes-atosis. So is this the year that Lamar Jackson is able to put things together for this Baltimore Ravens team? They have a stacked roster again. I mean, seriously, John Harbaugh is still the head coach in Baltimore. But again, Derrick Henry's their running back. I do like their receiving core. I do like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, as some people might not love them. I think that they're two good receivers, and they're good enough to complement what Lamar Jackson can do. DeAndre Hopkins might be a good addition, though he's kind of just been bouncing from team to team to team as of late, so maybe it's just a one-year pit stop, chasing the ring type of deal. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely is a great tight end tandem. I think it might be the best 2 tight end tandem in the league this year, though they will have to worry about not having Isaiah Likely early in the year. I think that front seven's really good. I really like Nnamdi Madubuike, and that linebacker core is elite. Roquan Smith, Kyle Van Noy, and Odafe Owe. I really like that group of guys. And then in the secondary, you have Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, who are both really good for their positions. And then they just picked up Jair Alexander, who just left Green Bay, who, oh, by the way, is still another top 10 corner in the league. It's insane that they were just able to pick him up. But they also have, Nate Wiggins. They have Malachi Starks, the rookie. This team and this roster on paper is absolutely loaded. I love this team from a pure skill standpoint. And so, unsurprisingly, I think the Ravens are going to be really good this year. Primetime games in gold, by the way. I think they start on the road on Sunday Night Football against the Bills. That game is going to be amazing. That's going to be so fun. But I think the Bills are able to get him again. Though I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Ravens pick up that win. They do get some tough games on the road, especially early. They get the Bills and the Chiefs on the road to start in the first 4 weeks. But outside of that, their road schedule really isn't too bad. They've got a nice, tough first 6 games before the bye. Really, they're playing 5 division winners in 6 games. The Bills, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Rams. I think they go 4-2 against those, 3-2 against those teams. You could pick and choose which of these teams they lose or beat, but I think 3-2 is a fair assessment against those teams, and they pick up a win against Cleveland, obviously. Out of the bye, I think the team's going to be phenomenal. The Bears, they'll roll over. They'll beat Miami on the road. They'll get Minnesota and Cleveland. They got to stretch of 3 games on the road in a row and then follow it up with 3 games at home in a row. I think they get all 6 of those games. And then they go to Cincinnati, and that's where I think that they falter. I feel like there'll be one game in this latter portion of the year that Baltimore slips up. And with how tough Cincinnati played against them last year, I feel like they'll get them once this year. But other than that, I mean, this is a schedule that, with a team as good as Baltimore, it's really front-loaded. If they can get to the bye week 4-2, they're going to steamroll the rest of this schedule. I'm not going to lie. They have a phenomenal roster. They should, on paper, beat virtually anybody on their schedule. So, naturally, I have them hitting their ceiling at 14-3. If something goes wrong and they suffer a couple injuries, they go no lower than 10-7. They're going to the playoffs. It's not a question. But I have the Ravens at 14-3 this year. And now you get to a team that's catching a lot of flack this season, the Cincinnati Bengals. A team that kind of reminds me, preparing to look like the mid-2010s New Orleans Saints, with a phenomenal offense, with a legendary quarterback, but couldn't finish with more than 7 wins because their defense was consistently bottom 5 and just that bad. Again, this offense looks amazing on paper. Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are both back. They're on major deals. Those 3 guys are going to account for so many points this year. The Bengals may actually get to the playoffs with those 3 teams if they're going to. With those 3 players. But re-signing Trey Hendrickson, despite all the talk and the negotiations that fell through, being able to at least sign him for this season is huge for that defense that does not look great outside of Trey Hendrickson. Cam Taylor-Britt's their best corner. Geno Stone's their best safety. I don't love this defense at all. This defense feels like it's going to be behind a lot. And the Bengals offense, their job this year basically is going to continue. Can they just keep up with the teams that they're playing? Even if this team finishes with only 7 or 8 wins, they're still going to be a very entertaining team to watch for those offense lovers out there, which for the NFL is a big portion of those fans. A lot of NFL fans just love to see 41-38, 34-31, 45-42 all the time. So with all that being said, looking at their schedule, I think that they're going to be a really inconsistent team this year. The Bengals have 4 primetime games, only one of them being at home, and I think they drop all of them. and I think the inconsistency really shows at the end of the year when they have a nice run, winning 4 of their last 5 against teams like Buffalo and Baltimore, but immediately after lose to a team like Miami. I feel like they're a team to prepare so hard and play so well, they overlook Miami, and the Dolphins surprise them, I guess. They also have a nice win on the road against Green Bay, but easily there are 3 losses here that they might not get, and there's the 4th, 6-11, but they could win another 2 games against Miami and New England, or beat Pittsburgh one of those 2 times, and boom, you got 11 wins. So if the Bengals can find some consistency, I think that they can play well and get to potentially 11 wins and outscore their opponents enough to hold them off and limit the damage their defense can do. Anyways, I have it nice and even here. An inconsistent team finds himself at a modest 9-8. Let's wrap up with the Cleveland Browns, a team that just feels like they're punting the season from the beginning. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where the direction is for Cleveland, but I don't love their situation. There are a couple pieces that I like, but I don't think that the roster translates, again, to wins on the football field. Joe Flacco's their starting quarterback. They've got 2 rookie quarterbacks that are learning under him, in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and they might learn a lot from Joe Flacco. I would assume, he's a guy I would actually want to learn from. But Nick Chubb's gone. Jerome Ford's their top running back. They have Jerry Jeudy as their only real wideout that's a real weapon. Cedric Tillman could pop off for a game or two, but I don't see him doing too much unless he truly fulfills a good wide receiver 2 role. David Njoku's still here somehow, but he'll be a good target. But then on the defensive side, I actually like their defensive line with Myles Garrett and Mason Graham. I think those two are going to be really nice, and they're going to complement each other. Though it does, I am a little interested on why Cleveland decided to go defensive line with their 5th overall pick and not any other position group, but I'm not going to question it too much. Mason Graham will be a good complement to Myles Garrett. I do like their 2 corners, Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. I do like those guys, but I don't know if I love the rest of the defense to really feel some sort of confidence as a unit. And with how I've been talking about them, unsurprisingly, I have the Cleveland Browns finishing at 3-14, at the floor that I have set for them. I think they've got a tough first 6 games, 3 division games, then 3 games against the NFC North, which is, as we all know, a really, really tough division this year. They got a game in London, and they do not get a bye after it, too. They got to go to London and then play on the road at Pittsburgh the next week. So I don't love their situation there, though I do think they might be able to catch the Dolphins by surprise week 7. But by that point, they hit the bye at 1-7, and the wheels have come off the bus. So I think they maybe pick up a couple late wins, but yeah, I don't see this team really doing too much this year. I feel like, yeah, it's another year that the Cleveland Browns are kind of sitting in the basement, unfortunately. 3-14. So anyways, here are my final division standings for the AFC North. I think the Baltimore Ravens finished on top of the division yet again, unsurprisingly, and finished 14-3, which is not only good for the number 1 seed in the AFC, but the top overall record in the National Football League. I think the Cincinnati Bengals finish at 9-8, which I think is good enough in the AFC this year to get into the playoffs as the 7th seed. I'm not super hot on some of those other teams in the bubble, and I think the Bengals are the ones that find themselves in the bracket instead of out of the bracket. I think this is the year the Steelers finish under 500 for the first time under Mike Tomlin. They go 6-11, and then the Cleveland Browns bring up the caboose at 3-14. Anyways, that's it. What do you think? Are these predictions somewhat level-headed and pretty accurate to what you think, or am I completely off the mark? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. And yeah, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe for more videos from me. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one.